Welcome everybody, it's me, Waifu Belector, and the day has finally arrived. The day where I talk about the latest installment in the Street Fighter franchise. I am of course talking about Street Fighter 6. And this one has kind of been a long time coming, so I want to just get right into it. So remember to give a thumbs up if you end up enjoying, and a subscription would be greatly appreciated. But whatever, let's talk about Street Fighter. Now, it's always tough to know where to start with these videos, but for Street Fighter, I think I want to start by speaking in an overall sense of the game. And try to stick with me here, but to be frank, this is easily the best Street Fighter game ever made. Easily. Now hold on. Let me explain, because I know you're already in an uproar. What I mean is, this is the best Street Fighter game strictly in terms of being a game, which sounds crazy because of course they're all games, but this is more game than Street Fighter's ever been. And the first time that Street Fighter has taken the potential scope of its popularity to heart and made a game that wasn't just for Street Fighter fans. Because pretty much beyond the iterations of Street Fighter 2, every Street Fighter entry has been aimed at people who already like it, who are devoted to it, and want to do it again. Even triumphant outings like Street Fighter 4 were not even remotely aimed at a wider and or casual audience. Because what even was Street Fighter 4? It was just 3D Street Fighter 2 with focus attacks. And sure, me and Street Fighter fan 123 love that shit, but Joe Gamer 98 doesn't give a fuck because he has no reason to. What is he supposed to do? Buy this game that's played more or less the exact same way for decades, that he knows he's bad at, and do the only thing that there is to do, which is to go online and fight people, which will likely result in him just constantly getting his ass beat. So yes, up until this point, I would argue that your average Joe Gamer 98 almost had zero reason to ever be enticed with buying a Street Fighter game. But now, there is Street Fighter 6, a true blue through and through Street Fighter game that is also a video game where you are allowed to have fun. Amazing. Street Fighter 6 is a fighting game with a lot of content, but it's what that content is for and how it's executed that makes this the achievement that it is. The purpose of Street Fighter 6's additional content beyond what they've always had is to enhance the fun, add accessibility, and add replayability, with the hope that if those chords are struck correctly, a ton of new people will be inducted into the Street Fighter community / ecosystem. Because again, this is the first time that Capcom seems to be developing a Street Fighter game while acknowledging that it has a few universally recognizable characters, and at one point, Street Fighter was a global phenomenon. And with those accolades comes the potential for exponential growth. Just look at something like Pokemon. But let's get back on track. So, how well does Street Fighter 6 achieve its additional content goals? Well, I'm happy to say that they pretty much fucking nailed it. This is primarily done through the World Tour mode. World Tour mode is the story / campaign mode of Street Fighter 6, and it mixes what you already know about Street Fighter with open world RPG elements. It sounds like a hell of a mashup, and it is. It's a hell of a fun mashup. In fact, you'll probably start off having fun with the absolutely unhinged character creator that allows you to do things that God never would have wanted. But yeah, once you've made your character and come to the realization that you can beat up just about anyone in the game's open city, you'll probably already have been fully bought into the idea of the World Tour mode. But one of the more impressive parts of World Tour mode is the way it teaches you the game and allows you to familiarize yourself with it in a fun and non-threatening offline environment. And as you explore pretty much all throughout the campaign, you're constantly getting new tactics and techniques drip-fed to you at a pace that couldn't possibly be overwhelming. And through the course of World Tour, every single character's combat style will be made available to your custom character, so you can also learn the ropes of all the characters in the same fun environment. And as you use a specific character style, the style will level up until it eventually reaches max level, which is level 20. Something I thought was a good touch is once a style has been maxed out, the level won't go up anymore, but you will still get XP. And the game allows you to transfer XP XP from a maxed out style to a different style that hasn't been maxed out. So if you want to max out every style for the movesets and lore rewards, but you want to fight with the style that you're comfortable with, you can do just that. Great touch if you ask me. But what was probably the most shocking thing about World Tour to me was just how long it was. This was definitely a pleasant surprise, but a surprise nonetheless. I finished the campaign at about 17 hours, and I honestly expected it to end about 9 hours earlier, until it became apparent that it was nowhere near over. And after I finished the variable 17-hour long World Tour mode, I honestly felt like that alone was enough to justify the purchase of Street Fighter 6. World Tour felt like enough game to be sold on its own, and yet there's more game. Because the things that you expect Street Fighter to have are all there, and it's all done wonderfully. You know, your standard arcade and online functionality, although I guess after Street Fighter 5, arcade's not a given. But yeah, it's here at launch for Street Fighter 6. Now, I'm gonna go back to the topic of additional accessibility and fun for a sec, because we have to talk about one of the cornerstones of seeing that goal achieved for Street Fighter 6, and that is the inclusion of modern controls. Modern controls are a simplified control scheme that lets you bypass most of Street Fighter's classic inputs. So no more down, forward, quarter, circle, half circle, full circle, circle, jerk, kick, punch, kick, push, whatever the fuck. No more of that. If you can't keep up with all of these inputs and semi-precise button presses, then modern controls are for you. It ties most of a character's special moves to a single special move button. For example, Ryu's classic Hadouken is always performed by pressing down, forward, punch. But in modern controls, you just press one button and he does Hadouken. Want to do Shoryuken instead? Hold forward and press that same button. Tatsumaki? Hold back and press that same button. You're starting to get it. Things have been made simple and easy so that those without all the classic inputs seared into their brains can have a fighting chance. And more importantly, have fun. In modern controls, you can also hold the right trigger and tap a single button repeatedly for short automated combos. So if you have trouble executing combos or you drive impact your opponent and have no idea what to do with your free hit, again, modern controls are for you. A friend of mine who rarely has played much Street Fighter bought this one and was playing World Tour mode with modern controls and was like, wow, this is crazy, I can do combos. And that exact situation is what modern controls are for. But at this point, I think I've spoken enough. I think you get the gist. Street Fighter 6 is stuffed to the gills with reasons to play. It's a great game, and not just for fighting game enthusiasts or Street Fighter fans, but for just about anyone who enjoys video games at all. Something that I don't think can be said for any other Street Fighter game, and not many fighting games in general. So there you have it, my thoughts on Street Fighter 6. And I forgot to make mention of Extreme Battle, which is a wacky mode where you fight with strange rule sets and goofy gimmicks, and it all just makes for an all-around silly good time. Kind of like Test Your Luck, but for Street Fighter. But like I said, I've spoken enough. Street Fighter 6 is an outstanding game. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say a hearty 9 out of 10. It's really a series of smaller things coming together to add up to that one missing point. But as I say, smaller things really not worth mentioning here and not damaging enough to derail this game from being absolutely impeccable. But okay, that's all from me. Hope you enjoyed this. Why not drop a like if you did? And please, please, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you have Street Fighter 6 or any thoughts on it, by all means, drop a fucking comment. But until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I demand Sakura for DLC. Goodbye.